In shape, 145. In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
Gervonta Tank Davis' only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility.
Reports suggest that Terence Crawford recently paid a visit to Gervonta Tank Davis ahead of his highly anticipated showdown with Jake Paul. During their time together, Crawford offered valuable training insights and shared some of his own strategic advice with the young champion. The two fighters reportedly exchanged techniques and discussed different fight strategies, displaying genuine mutual respect and professionalism. Crawford also expressed strong admiration for Davis's dedication and natural talent, calling him one of the hardest working fighters in the sport today. Interestingly, Crawford mentioned that if Tank ever wanted to meet him inside the ring, he'd be open to the idea, not out of rivalry, but as a way to honor the spirit of boxing and challenge himself against another elite competitor.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes, and, daring to be great.
You would fight him,
man. Tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow, man. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147
Ooh,
for
him. See, oh, man.
You're going to have a pre-count.
Then what the people going to say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
It appears that Gervonta Tank Davis is taking inspiration from Terence Crawford, one of the most technically gifted fighters in modern boxing. Crawford's preparation for Canelo Alvarez turned heads for his ability to switch stances effortlessly, maintain perfect balance, and create an unpredictable rhythm that kept opponents guessing. Now, Tank seems to be adopting a similar approach. In his latest training footage, Davis can be seen experimenting with new footwork, shifting angles, and even switching stances mid-combination, something rarely seen from him in the past. Analysts believe he's not only drawing influence from Crawford but also studying Jaron Boots Ennis, a fighter known for his comfort and power from both orthodox and southpaw positions. This evolution in Tank's style could be part of a larger game plan, one designed to shock fans and opponents alike when he steps into the ring against Jake Paul.
Right. This is scary. Gervonta Tank Davis is working on his versatility. We already know he has that ultimate equalizer, that special God-gifted one-punch knockout power. But he also can box. Gervonta Tank Davis, he's very durable, has a chin, never seen him visibly hurt. Gervonta Tank Davis also has great footwork and foot placement. And here you see Gervonta Tank Davis' only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility. He's now working on fighting orthodox. He's naturally a southpaw. Now he's working on fighting orthodox. Great switch hitters, no diddy, in the sport of boxing.
Showbiz the Adult, a respected boxing analyst, recently shared his thoughts on the upcoming Gervonta Tank Davis vs. Jake Paul fight. He emphasized that this matchup has to deliver real excitement, because if it ends up looking like a light sparring session, it could seriously damage both fighters' reputations. According to him, many fans worry the bout might be a safe, controlled performance, with neither fighter wanting to risk embarrassment. But if that happens, it would instantly kill the hype and make audiences lose interest in ever watching them again. With both Tank and Jake commanding huge fan bases that expect energy, drama, and action, this fight can't afford to be slow or cautious. It needs to bring authentic intensity, because the moment it starts to feel dull, all the momentum surrounding it will disappear completely.
Career ending. It could be career ending. Jake Paul can end his whole shit. That's the black. Tank can end Jake Paul's whole shit. And if that fight is meh, and it's just a sparring session that's tit for tat, their shit's over. Because people gonna be pissed that it's exactly what they expected it to be. They can't do that. If they do, their career's ruined. Jake Paul career's ruined, and Tank. If they make it meh and just touch, both their brands suck. That's the black two sugar. You mess around in that bell ring, and you see little Tank, and you see big Jake, and he's throwing a jab, and little Tank making a miss, and bam, and y'all gonna be like, whoa, say I'm lying. Y'all, you know what? Yes, say I'm lying. Please say I'm lying. But y'all gonna be right there, cheering, because you ain't never seen nothing that damn bizarre. Even De La Hoya versus Shaq had headgear, and Shaq ain't a boxer. That right there, fireworks. Because you're going to be holding your breath, especially Tank fans. I'm going to be like, don't hit Tank. You're going to see Tank little ass legs. You're going to, and big ass Jake, big legs, and big ass head. Bam, bam. Watch. Y'all talk all that shit now because y'all love talking shit. Y'all love hating on things until you see it. Like women back in the 90s. I remember my sisters back in the 90s. You ain't that cute. You ain't, but all on your shit. That's what y'all do. Y'all talk shit, but y'all the first ones there.
Keith Thurman recently highlighted an interesting truth about Gervonta Tank Davis and the people who criticize him. According to Thurman, many of Tank's loudest critics are actually his most consistent viewers. He pointed out that those who claim Tank's performances fall short are the same ones who never skip a single fight. Thurman believes this behavior exposes an ironic reality. These so-called haters are, in fact, helping Tank's fame grow without realizing it. Every time they talk down on his fights or question his skills, they're still feeding the hype and keeping Davis's name in the headlines. Whether the attention is positive or negative, it all adds to his...
Really not happy with Tank. First off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What is it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It should say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, so fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, you know, it's money-making purposes only. You know, it is what it is.
If you're really not a fan of Gervonta Tank Davis, then honestly, just don't watch him. Simple as that. You can't say you don't support him but still tune in every time he fights. That's not how it works. Now, if you're a true boxing purist, then his upcoming fight with Roach is probably more your style. More technical, more traditional, and focused on real boxing fundamentals. But if you're into entertainment, hype, and big event energy, then you'll definitely want to watch the Tank vs Jake Paul showdown. That one's designed purely for entertainment value. And honestly, it should probably come with a disclaimer saying, for entertainment purposes only, don't try this at home. At the end of the day, that fight is all about business. Big money, big audiences.
And it says that, you know, pretty much the only people that can beat him is Shakur Stevenson, and I don't know who else he said. She thought that at a point in time that Devin Haney could beat him, but now she doesn't believe that. But so really the only fight that there is for Gervonta Davis is Shakur. What a mighty, mighty convenient argument. And Gervonta Davis responded, and basically his response was, come on, girl, stop talking about me so much because you're making me feel like I'm special. Right? So he pretty much just, you know, kind of blows it off. But I really think that there's something much deeper going on here. And it is that this, and I said it again, I said it in another video, I'll say it in this one, the Bud Buddies. The Bud Buddies are a crew of boxers that all hang around and worship Terence Bud Crawford. And the main two members of it, besides the people that are actually in Terence Crawford's camp, as fighters are Shakur Stevenson and Clarissa Shields, without a doubt. Clarissa Shields is a huge backer of Terence and a huge backer of Shakur Stevenson. At the end of the day, the only thing she really cares about is what's in the best interest of Shakur Stevenson. And anything and everything she say is angled that way to get Gervonta Davis to do something that Shakur Stevenson wants him to do, which is really do all the hard work and then be there for Shakur Stevenson to become a star at the end of it. I'm telling you, man, I believe that to the bottom of my soul, that is the same plan that Terence Crawford ran on Errol Spence Jr.
Be a fight against Shakur Stevenson. Her comment clearly didn't sit right with him. Tank responded sharply, making it clear that no one has the authority to decide his path. In his words, fans should just be fans, not managers. The message was direct and unapologetic. This reaction seems to come from a deeper frustration. After his draw with Lamont Roach, many of his supporters suddenly turned on him, flooding social media with claims that he was overrated. That wave of criticism hit hard, and it shows. Now, Tank's attitude has shifted completely. He's done chasing approval or trying to live up to others' expectations. His mindset is simple: he'll fight when and whom he wants, and he's doing it on his own terms.
He fights like this with fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. As Tank, well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has everything his way.
The upcoming clash between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul doesn't quite fit the mold of traditional boxing. As several analysts have noted, matchups like this tend to exist somewhere between sport and spectacle rather than true competition. What makes this fight particularly unusual is that both fighters are still in their primes. Exhibition bouts usually make sense when boxers are past their peak, like Floyd Mayweather's recent showcase events. But in this case, both Tank and Jake are active competitors, still chasing career milestones and building their legacies. That's what makes the whole thing feel so unconventional. It's neither a pure boxing contest nor a simple exhibition. Instead, it sits in that gray area between authentic competition and viral entertainment, blurring the boundaries of what modern boxing has become.
Assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70 pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound for pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? And it's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history. And there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant. And it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev fight, whereas Valuev was 7 foot tall and weighed 316 pounds.
Another major concern surrounding this matchup is the huge weight gap between the two fighters. Jake Paul typically walks around at cruiserweight size, while Gervonta Tank Davis usually competes between the lightweight and super lightweight divisions. That's a difference of roughly 60 to 70 pounds, a gap the sport of boxing was specifically designed to prevent. Weight classes exist for a reason, to ensure fair competition and to protect fighters from facing opponents with overwhelming physical advantages. When those boundaries are ignored, the integrity of the sport comes into question. Even if this event is labeled an exhibition, the disparity in size and power could easily turn it into something dangerous and unbalanced. If matchups like this become common, it raises an important question. What's the point of having weight divisions at all?
Purists hate it, the algorithm loves it, and both will watch. It's not just who wins, it's what wins. Will the entertainment value or the ring IQ come out on top? Because if Tank dominates, the meme dies. Jake Paul survives or hits it big, we see new rules are going to be written in real time. Me, you, maybe everyone at some point has been that bigger guy thinking that I'll just bully him. Jab, slip, liver shot, sat me down real nicely. Size helped until it didn't. All I'm saying is let's not dismiss something because it looks weird. Many fights get decided by the details. Feet before fists, timing before muscle, discipline before clout. Look, Tank wins if he stays Tank. He's built on patience, traps, explosive counters. That's hell for a tall guy who gets eager. Jake's long jab is the gate, but Tank's head movement is the key. Once he times it, the door's getting open and the furniture is going to get rearranged. Think locksmith versus padlock. Big padlock looks scary until the right tool clicks once. Jake throws that overhand like he's bowling with the shoulder. Effective, but you don't see it.
The upcoming showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis is about much more than just strength or skill. It's a battle over the future of boxing itself. If Jake Paul comes out on top, it could completely reshape the sport's direction, opening the door for more crossover fights between influencers and professionals. That shift might pull attention away from championship-level boxing, steering fans towards social media-driven spectacles where drama outweighs discipline. But if Tank Davis delivers a dominant victory, it could recenter the focus on true boxing ability, reminding fans that technique, experience, and ring IQ still matter more than fame or followers. The irony is, even with all the criticism,
people said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then. But I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round. I don't know what it is, but you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business.
Promoter Eddie Hearn recently gave one of the most direct takes on the Gervonta Tank Davis versus Jake Paul matchup. In his view, boxing and entertainment are two entirely different worlds, and when those lines start to blur, the sport risks losing its true identity. Hearn argued that this fight isn't about genuine competition or legacy. Instead, it's a business-driven spectacle, designed to capture attention and generate massive paydays rather than determine who the better boxer is. He warned that this kind of crossover event is a dangerous formula because once fans begin accepting these matchups as normal, it could undermine the credibility of professional boxing altogether. Coming from someone with decades of experience promoting major fights, Hearn's words carry real weight. He's witnessed firsthand how quickly entertainment boxing can overshadow championship-level bouts, shifting the focus from sport to spectacle.
I like when it's all said and done and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you. That's the problem with this sport. It's like what Jake Paul did, man, it's crazy. But people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby. I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things. But there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore. But it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking like I don't know the official one. They're talking about 100 mil.
Oh damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that.
Former world champion Sean Porter recently offered a more personal take on Jake Paul's rise